What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's me, Cosmic, and I am back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about spiritual narcissism, but before I start, I want to say thank you guys for subscribing. For those of you who have subscribed to my channel recently, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to seeing my channel continue to grow in 2020. 2020 is the year for this channel and for my spiritual community. So without further ado, let's get into this video. What is spiritual narcissism? Spiritual narcissism is something that's been going on since spirituality became very new age. Spiritual narcissism is basically somebody who uses spirituality to control or manipulate, or just uses spirituality for some sort of like status or ego driven kind of motivations. I realize this a lot with the spiritual community or within the spiritual community. Basically, a spiritual narcissist is a narcissist, of course, but they mask their narcissism with spirituality. So this kind of narcissism is really tricky to pick up on if you're not really that spiritually aware. They could kind of trick you into believing their motives, and they make it seem like their motives and their intentions towards you and others are spiritual based and they're pure, but in actuality they have ill intentions for you and other people. They're just out to just control everything and everyone around them, out to just take other people's energy because these people lack energy themselves. The point of this video is to help you guys identify these individuals and understand them as well. Not only is it important to identify these people so you don't get attacked by them, but also having an understanding of why they're in your life, and just in general, just understanding them as an individual. You may not understand their whole journey, but at least understand that aspect of their journey and why they're doing this to other people. First, I'm going to start off with how to identify these people. I'm going to try not to judge them so much because I'm really not a judgmental person. I'm just saying what I see them do. They're very condescending. They try to dominate people. They're very manipulative. They tend to operate from their ego a lot. They're very egotistical. I see these people as they're just lost. They go after people who have an abundance of light in their spirit because they lack that introspection within themselves to get to that inner light that they're striving for. They're striving to emanate that kind of light that they see others around them emit. Their way of obtaining that is through narcissistic behaviors, dragging people down. They're controlling people, manipulating people into giving their power away to them. They lack the willingness to do the inner alchemy within themselves to get to that place of healing, love, and light within themselves. They're essentially energy vampires. These people try to make it seem like certain choices that you make for yourself, they try to shame you for it, and they try to make it seem like, oh, you're being a negative person. They try to make it seem like you're not a spiritual person. Whatever kind of choice it is, whether it's like you're removing some sort of habit or characteristic out of your life, they make it seem like, oh, like you're being negative. You're not being spiritual if you do this or do that. Like, they just try to control your spiritual journey. They lack the understanding and the perspective that everybody's journey is different and everybody requires certain things on their journey, and there are things that you don't require on your journey. Maybe at the moment or maybe not at all. They lack that kind of awareness of other people. They just see things through their lens and they're unable to see things through other people's lenses. Another behavior that they do, or it's not what they do, it's kind of like what they say, because I feel like spiritual narcissism is very intellectual based. They play a lot of head games. You know, they try to confuse you. They try to put illusions in front of you, illusions about themselves in front of other people. And they make it seem like, oh, they're godly, they're pure, they're positive kind of people, but really in actuality, they're really not. That could make you feel a little crazy or like kind of question your perception on things, especially about that person that you're dealing with. You really shouldn't let them con you into believing that if they're displaying negative behaviors towards you and that's draining to you and that doesn't coincide with your path and just who you are as a person, and it just causes a clash between you guys. Even if you do try to make amends with these people and try to get along with these people and it's still like a clash and these issues are still going on, don't let them put it in your mind that you're any less spiritual than they quote unquote are, because you just don't want to tolerate their kind of behavior because it's just not healthy for your spirit. They will oftentimes say things like that, and if you've experienced somebody saying something like that to you, you're not doing these typical quote unquote spiritual things like being empathetic and compassionate and understanding and accepting. They try to use that so you can just allow their behaviors, and they make it seem like, oh, you're not being spiritual if you're not accepting me or you're not being tolerable of me. Just know that this is just another mind game that they play, and they just want to keep you around so they could just continue to take your energy away, take your power away. I'm here to advise you not to let them do that. Do not give these people no kind of power. These people really need to sit with themselves and work on their inner power, their inner light, and stop trying to take other people's light away. Light that people really did the spiritual work for. Another thing that spiritual narcissists do is these people have this godly kind of complex where they just think they're above people, they think they're better than people. So the minute you two have some sort of misunderstanding, there's a little bit of friction, these people will ignore you and treat you like a nuisance. They'll gaslight you and make it seem like you're crazy and they don't know what you're talking about, or they don't even know why you're mad, and that's not their problem because I'm above you, I'm above this, I don't have to deal with you. With them failing to realize, like, if you have an issue with another person, to some degree, you're the cause of it too. It's not just that person, it's the both of you. They don't want to take accountability. They want to appear as perfect, like they could do no wrong. Those are other characteristics of a spiritual narcissist. That in and of itself is another way they drain your energy too, especially when they're ignoring you on purpose, knowing that you two have an issue that should be discussed. They purposely ignore you because that's their way of still keeping power over you. Because what are you going to do if somebody's like giving you the cold shoulder? Typically you would try to reach out to this person, try to get this person to kind of listen and pay attention to what you have to say. These people, they kind of just see it as, oh, this person is just giving me their energy. They're just putting all this time and energy to reach out to me, or just kind of just taking notice that I'm not paying any attention to them. That's just what they do. They find joy in that. You just ignore them back, not to match their energy, but because you have to realize when somebody's like purposely ignoring you, especially because they think they're better than you or they're above you, and they just think whatever kind of conversation that you're trying to have, like they're too above you to have that kind of conversation, you ignore them. Because a spiritual narcissist is like any old narcissist. They love attention. They find joy in you giving them attention. They see it as like you're begging for their attention. And if that's going on in your life now, just stop giving them attention. And they avoid that alchemy process, because essentially when you are going through low times, whether it's within something with yourself or with another person, it is a time of transformation. It is a time of doing that alchemical process. And sometimes you have to do that within yourself, by yourself, or sometimes it's with another person. When you have an issue with somebody, it's important to talk about it, because then through that process you're creating a new kind of energy between you and that person. Sometimes it could still be an energy of separation where you guys realize, okay, well, we can't mesh well and we just have to separate. Or it could be an energy of, okay, we weren't meshing well now, but now that we came to this understanding of each other, now our energies could flow a little bit differently in this new space that we're in together. A spiritual narcissist, these people are too fearsome to go through any kind of transformative process. That's just what it is. They're afraid to do it within themselves, by themselves, and they're definitely afraid to do it with other people around them. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that spiritual narcissists, they lack boundaries. Like literally they do. It's not like in a physical sense where somebody crosses your boundaries. I'm talking more in like a spiritual sense. And you can actually feel it too. You could feel when somebody's just being overbearing or they're trying to impose themselves on you. Like, it's really hard to describe. It's just something that you just feel and you pick up about these people. They tend to like use you for spiritual knowledge and then they throw it back in your face. They tend to just ride somebody else's wave instead of finding their own way and just finding their own wave to ride on. You know, they just always look externally of themselves to find guidance. And there's nothing wrong with somebody helping you in a certain period of your life where you just need some sort of wisdom or some sort of guidance once in a while. But for the most part, as a spiritualist, you should be doing the inner work yourself. You should be trusting the universe, trusting where the universe is guiding you, trusting where your higher self is guiding you. Spiritual narcissists, they tend to, again, they just lack the ability to do their own inner work and just find their own way on their own. So they just take other people's knowledge and just apply it to themselves, and then they just want to spew it out like they really understand the full totality of what that knowledge is. When they really didn't really meditate on it, they just kind of just heard it and they're just spewing it out like they know what they're talking about when they most likely really don't. They just use your knowledge as a way to control or manipulate you or confuse you about what you believe in and what you believe about your path and the universe in general. They themselves, they don't even really know if they really believe in the spiritual stuff at all. You know, they're unsure of themselves. They're unsure of what they're doing. This is why they're asking you, because they want to make sure they're quote unquote doing the spirituality correctly. Trust yourself, trust the universe, listen to your intuition. That's just what spirituality is all about. Just really exercising your intuition and just having it guide you where you feel is best for you at that given time. You know, nobody could tell you that. That's for you to figure out yourself. I can only just give suggestions and advice, but as far as like a solid answer, that is up to you as an individual to figure that out yourself. The most important thing you can do when you're dealing with a narcissist or a spiritual narcissist at that is to be understanding of these people. When you're understanding of the people, places, and things around you, that helps you deeply understand yourself. We are all interconnected to each other in some way, shape, and form. This is why we come in and out of each other's lives, because we're here to offer some sort of lesson to each other. Sometimes the lessons can be pleasant, some of them are not. And in this case, dealing with a spiritual narcissist, a lot of the times it's not a pleasant experience, but there is something to learn there. These people, and they don't realize it, but they're helping you understand your power and recognize your power, because that's the whole point. They want you to feel like you don't have power, like you're weak, you just don't have spiritual strength. And that's not true. You're a strong person, you do have spiritual power. You just need to stop easily giving it away to somebody who lacks their own spiritual power. And that's what a spiritual narcissist is there to help you realize. Realize the powers that lie within you, and realize that, you know what, like, you can't take away my power. And it's not really necessarily about having more power over them, it's just having power in general to not let them drag you down or utilize your power that they're taking for ill intentions. But going back to understanding them, you have to understand the best thing you can do when you're dealing with a spiritual narcissist is understand that they are on their own journey. Like I said in the beginning, we may not know the full totality of somebody's journey, but I will say with a spiritual narcissist though, or anybody that just mistreats you in any way, shape, or form, they are on their own journey to overcome their ego, because that's basically what narcissism is. It's all about succumbing to your own ego. They have to rise above that. That is part of their lesson, of their journey. It may not be the full totality of it, but it's part of it. Again, it's about having compassion for these people, but at a distance though, because remember what I said in the beginning, these people are just out to just drain you of your energy that you need for yourself to do your spiritual work. There's nothing wrong with distancing yourself from a person that behaves this way. You're just protecting your energy. Again, the energy that you need to heal yourself on your own and do your own spiritual work. You have to leave them on their own so they could figure out their own self, so they could introspect, so they could go through the alchemy process and heal themselves. That's essentially what a spiritual narcissist needs, or a narcissist in general. That's what they need. They need healing, and they need time alone to heal. You know, when you're just entertaining them and giving them energy, these people aren't really going to take the time to heal. These people are just as spiritual as we are. We're all spiritual beings on our own unique path. And that's something that you have to remember dealing with this person. Instead of letting yourself be a victim, recognize that you don't have to be a victim of a narcissist. Because I've watched so many videos and just read the comments on people's experiences on dealing with a narcissist, and they just sound like so broken down and just victimized. And it's just like, you guys just have to realize, like, these people don't have power in your life. They never did. And the only reason why they're coming around you is because they lack power. And they see that you have the power. You have the spirituality that they're lacking in their lives. And they're just trying to find it outside themselves when they don't realize that it's within. It's not outward. So there's no need to be a victim. Just step away and recognize that I don't have to be taken down their path with them. I may not know everybody's situations on why they've dealt with certain narcissistic people for an extended amount of time, but I will say you always have the choice to walk away and not entertain them. How are you really gonna have the full effect of healing if you're just allowing toxicity in your space? And second of all, it's just going to drag you down and distract you from the spiritual work that you're supposed to be doing, so you can be in a constant state of peace and love and abundance. The last thing that I wanted to mention is how to avoid spiritual narcissism yourself, is to recognize that, again, everybody is a spiritual being. Everybody's on their own path. You may understand something before somebody else and vice versa, and somebody else may understand something before you. And I'm not trying to make it sound like it's a competitive thing, and that's another thing to remember, that this is not a competition. This is not about ego. We're all here to help each other when it's needed. We're all working through something. Even people like spiritual narcissists, they're also working through something. You have to remember to be empathetic to people, understand people's processes, understand it the best way you can, because like I said, everybody's path is unique to them, and you may not really understand the way that person understands it, but at least you can have an idea and just respect it. You know what I'm saying? And be supportive of that person wherever it is that they're going. We're all learning from each other. You can even learn from a spiritual narcissist. You learn what not to do, but you also learn about your personal power and how valuable that is. Understand that people perceive things different. People have their own beliefs. You can't force your beliefs on other people. You can only just share, and how they take it is how they take it. How they perceive it is how they perceive it. It could be misconstrued, but like I said, it's either they understand or they don't. But there's nothing wrong with sharing what you know with people. Just don't be overbearing or just try to impose your belief system on somebody else and try to control that person's life. Just because somebody may not have came to an understanding about something, that doesn't make them any less of a person, that doesn't make them any less spiritual. They just may have not grasped that lesson yet. It may not be their time to fully understand that lesson yet. People who are spiritual narcissists, like, you have no right to sit there and be like, oh, well, are you even spiritual? I'm questioning if you're spiritual or not, just because somebody may not understand something just yet. Eventually they will, maybe not at the time that you do. they'll grasp it eventually on their own time, on the universe's time. It's not on your time, it's the universe's time. And that's what a spiritual narcissist needs to remember. It's not about you. This is just my insight on spiritual narcissism. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like it would be helpful for those of you who are beginning your spiritual journey, or you've been on it and you could just fall astray sometimes on your spiritual journey. You just pick yourself back up and you just keep going. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below or send me an email, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.